Hello everyone! Welcome back to the 3D modeling lessons. This practical lesson for students of architecture and design specialties led for you by seminar teacher Domene Inessa. And today we will create first interior scene and fill the room with furniture using editable poly modeling. But before to do it, we have to introduce with one more section in Modify panel, which is called Edit Geometry Rollout. So today's aims are Edit Geometry Rollout, how to create scene of interior, and fill in the interior with furniture. In the previous lesson we have learned how to convert geometry primitives into editable poly objects and how to edit them on sub-object level. The sub-object levels like vertices, edge, border, polygon and element help you to select the sub-objects of the object in the viewport. You can do extrude, chamfer, connect and so on to modify the shape of the object. And today we'll introduce with Edit Geometry Rollout. The options in this rollout are used to edit the geometry as the object as well as sub-object levels. For example, attach, detach, slice plane, quick slice, and M-smooth. The Repeat Last button is used to repeat the recently used command. For example, if you have applied a command to a polygon of an object, and you need to apply the same command up to the same level to the other polygons, then select the other polygons in the viewport and choose the Repeat Last button. The same command will be applied to the selected polygons. Constraints options. Constraints area are used to define the existing geometry to constrain sub-object transformation. There are 4 radio buttons in this area. They are None, Edge, Face and Normal. By default, the non-radial button is selected. As a result, no constraints will be applied to existing geometry. The Edge radial button is used to constrain the sub-object transformation to edge boundaries. The Face radial button is used to constrain the sub-object transformation to the individual face. The Normal radial button is used to constrain each sub-object transformation to its normal. The Create button is used to add the sub-object to selected object in the viewport. This button is available as a vertex, border, polygon and element sub-object levels. To add the sub-object, select the editable poly object in the viewport and then choose the Modify tab. Next, select one of the sub-object levels in the modifier stack and then choose the Create button in the Edit Geometry. Now click anywhere in the viewport to add vertices to the selected object if the vertex sub-object level is selected. If you have selected the face sub-object level, then click on the 3 vertices one by one to add a new face. The Attach button is used to attach an object to the selected object in the viewport. To attach an object, select the editable poly object in the viewport and choose the Modify tab. Next, choose the Attach button in the Edit Geometry Rollout. Now when you move the cursor over another object in the viewport, the attached cursor will be displayed. Click on the object. It will be attached to the selected object. Also, it will display the same color and properties as those of the selected object. Attach List button is used to attach a number of objects simultaneously to selected object. To do so, select the editable poly object in the viewport and choose the Modify tab in the Command panel. Now choose the Attach List button from the Edit Geometry rollout. The Attach List dialog box will be displayed. Attach List dialog box displays a list of all the objects in the viewport. From this list, select the name of the objects that you want to attach by holding the Ctrl or Shift key, and then choose the Attach button. The selected objects in the list will be attached to the object selected in the viewport. Note that those attached objects will display the same color and properties as that of the selected object. The Detach button is used to detach the objects from the selected object to make them individual objects. This button is available for the vertex, face, polygon, and element sub-object levels. To detach a sub-object, select the editable poly object in the viewport, choose the Modify tab, and then select one of the sub-object levels in the modifier stack. Next, select the sub-object in the viewport that you want to detach as an individual object, and then choose the Detach button. The Detach dialog box will be displayed. In this dialog box, enter the name of the new object in the Detach as text box and then choose the OK button. The selected sub-object will be detached and treated as an individual object. Now, when you move the individual object at the object level, it will leave a hole in the original object. In the Detach dialog box, select the Detach as Clone checkbox. The selected sub-object will be copied and treated as individual object. Also, the original object will not get modified. Slice Plane and Slice buttons are used to slice the sub-object to create new vertices, faces, edges, polygons, and elements. To do so, select the editable poly object in the viewport, choose the Modify tab, and then select the sub-object level in the modifier stack. Next, select one or more sub-object in the viewport and then choose the Slice Plane button. A yellow colored Slice Plane gizmo will be displayed in the viewport. Set the position of the Slice Plane gizmo over the selected sub-object by moving or rotating it at the position where you want to slice them. Then choose the Slice button. The selected sub-object will be divided to create a new sub-objects. Cut button is available only for the edge, face, polygon, and element sub-object levels. It is used to cut the edge, face, polygon, or element of an object to create new vertices, edges, and faces. To do so, select the editable poly object in the viewport, choose the Modify tab and then select any sub-object level in the modifier stack except Vertex. Next, choose the Cut button and move the cursor over the object. The cursor will change when it comes over any sub-object. Next, click on the sub-object to specify the first cut point and drag the mouse to specify the end point of the cut. A dotted line will be displayed. Now click again to cut the sub-object and right-click to end the cut command. The object will be cut. You can also select the sub-object to be cut a particular area. Note that while using the Cut button, select the Ignore backfacing checkbox to avoid the cut on the back face of the sub-object. The Quick Slice button is used to slice an object or sub-objects very quickly and easily. To slice an object quickly, choose the Quick Slice button. A Quick Slice cursor will be displayed. Click in the viewport to define the first point of the slice plane. A slice plane will be displayed. Move the cursor to define an angle for the slice and click again to specify the end point of the slice. The object will be sliced according to the slice plane. It affects the slice operation on the entire object. If you need to slice particular sub-objects, then you need to select them. Next, right-click to end the Quick Slice command. It is recommended to avoid performing the slice operation in the perspective viewport. M-Smooth button is used to smoothen the object or sub-objects. To smoothen the object, select it in the viewport and then choose the M-Smooth button in the Edit Geometry rollout. The object will be smoothened as shown. Choose the Settings button on the right of the Smooth button. The Mesh Smooth Selection carry control will be displayed in the viewport. Set the value in the Smoothness spinner to define the smoothness of the object. The value in the spinner varies from 0.0 to 1.0. To view the spinner names in the carry control, you need to move the cursor over the buttons in it. The corresponding name will be displayed the place of the name of the carry control. The Tessellate button is used to increase the number of edges or faces in an object and smoothen the object. By default, when you choose the Tessellate button, the number of edges of the object will increase. To change the settings, choose the Settings button on the right side of Tessellate button. The Tessellate selection KD control will be displayed in the viewport. Next, click on the arrow placed on the Edge button. A drop-down list will be displayed to select the tessellation method. Select the Edge or Face option and then choose the Apply and Continue button. The number of edges or faces will be increased in the object. If you need to apply the same setting again, then choose the Apply and Continue button again. To end the command and close the carry control, choose the OK button. In case you need to close the carry control without applying the settings to the selection, choose the Cancel button. Now we'll get practical exercise how to create our first scene using all knowledge about modeling with editable poly. In this scene, we'll use all commands from Modify panel of Editable Poly sub-objects and Edit Geometry Rollout. Look at this picture. Let's analyze it. In the frame came two walls, ceiling with lamp, bookshelf, table and chairs. These are most main objects in this scene. You may be confused by some of the realism of this scene, but is achieved with the help of material overlay and lighting, as well as camera exposure. We'll study all this later, and at this stage, let's start modeling objects from polygons. So this scene will divide on two chapters. First, it's to create room, and second, it's to create furniture. First step, we have to set up the units. For this, choose Menu Customize, Unit Setup, Metric. Create a plane with dimensions of 5 meters by 8 meters. Divide segments 5 by 8, like length segments 5, width segments 8. Convert the plane to editable poly, and while holding Shift key, extrude the polygons as shown in the picture, using the extrude parameter. The ceiling is approximately 2.6 meters high. You can use Quick Slice button from Edit Geometry Rollout to create additional edges. If you need to connect vertices together, use Collapse command button. If you need to connect edges, use Bridge command. Here is tips to do your work more convenient. Set up units of measurement. For this you have to choose Menu Customize, Unit Setup, Metric. Display unit scale. The choice in which units the space will be measured. Here you have to choose meters. System unit scale. What will be equal to one system unit of measure? Here you can put from 0.01 meter till 0.1 meter. Next step, choose Viewport Top. Then activate Parameter Snaps toggle. Enabling this option will allow you to move your cursor on a certain distance equal to 10 units. If you specified 1 unit equal 0.1 meter, then by 1 meter. And if 1 unit equal 0.01 meter, then by 0.1 meter. This will allow you to create walls with exact size, and most importantly, create them straight. Creating a window border using polygon editing. To create window frame in the wall, you have to choose parallel edges of the wall object as shown in the picture. Next step, with Connect button command, you can add 2 more edges. For this you have to choose the Setting button on the right side of the Connect button. In same way, it's need to create horizontal edges, which will connect to create polygon for window frame. Delete the polygon using the Delete button on the keyboard. After that, select the central polygon, the polygon as the location of the future window border. Use the Extrude command to create a thickness with a value equal to the thickness of the wall. After deleting polygon, which is creating window frame, it must be appear space in between two edges of wall thickness. To create a polygon in between them, use Bridge command button after choosing two parallel edges. Creating windows and doors. To create windows, on the Create tab of the command panel in the Geometry section, select a group of Windows objects from the drop-down list as shown in the picture. There are several types of windows in Thirds Max. All of them are listed below. As already noted, these windows are convenient in that way if they are built correctly. They are automatically cut window frames in the walls, but only in the walls of the wall type. In case the walls are created in different way, for example by extrusion, then you will have to punch frames using, for example, Boolean operation, or for the example which mentioned earlier. So here we can see types of windows which you can create from Windows drop-down list. Awning button, creating awning window which opens up. Fixed button, creating fixed window like dead window. Casement button, creating casement window which is folding. Projected button, creating projected window. It's like several sections that open in different directions. Pivoted button, creating pivoted window which is rotating in the center. And sliding button, creating leaf window. For convenient work, it will help you next steps. 3D snapping to edges. Edge segment must be enabled. The window is creating in the next sequence, like width, depth, and height. It is better to build a window on the top view by properly zooming in the viewport. Snapping to the outer edge of the wall. Press the left mouse button. Most likely the window will be created at the bottom of the wall. Therefore, you need to take the Move tool and raise the window to required height. It's better to do this in the front view. Windows Casement option settings. All types of windows have approximately the same settings. Let's consider them using the casement window as an example. Height, width, and depth. These counters set the size of the window block. In the frame group, the dimensions of the window frame beams are set in the horizontal counters. Width of horizontal beams. Vert width of vertical beams. And thickness in the glazing group glass. The thickness parameters is a counter for setting the glass thickness. In the casement group, the panel width field sets the width of the glass panels in each sachet. Switch 1, 2 set the number of shutters in the window. In the open window group, the degree of opening of the window sashes is set. This settings is not available for a window of the fixed type. Flip swing a flag that allows you to deploy open sashes in the other directions. To create the doors in Max, choose the Create tab of the command bar. Under Geometry button, select the Doors object group from the drop-down list, as shown in the picture. There are 3 types of doors in Max. All of them are listed below. They are created in the same way as windows. Pivot button. Creating pivot door, hinged, ordinary doors. Bi-fold door. It is folding door, opening like tram doors. Sliding button. Creating sliding door, which is opening like train compartment doors. The door created in the sequence like width, depth and height. Following the same steps as creating a window in the previous example, you can create the doors. Settings door parameters. The settings for all doors are almost the same. Consider the parameters of pivot door type doors, which is hinged. Height, width and depth, it is counters in which the dimensions of the door block are set. Double door, the checkbox of which creates double doors that open from the center to the sides. Flip swing, in or out, a checkbox the installation of which changes the direction of opening the doors to the opposite. Flip hinge, left or right. A checkbox the installation of which changes the jamb on which the door is hung only for single doors. Parameter group frame. Create frame, create a box, a checkbox that provides modeling of the door frame. If it is reset, then only leaves are modeled. The dimensions of the door frame are set in the counters width, thickness and depth. The offset value of the door attachment point to the jambs along the door frame depth coordinates set in the door offset counter. In addition to the basic settings, it is possible to customize the door leaf. The appearance of the door itself, for example, with glass or panels. Those options are in the leaf parameters rollout. On this picture you can see an approximate preparation of the scene where the next step we will fill with furniture. Now it's time to fill the stage. Let's look at this example again. As mentioned earlier, in this scene you need to model a table, chairs, bookshelf. But you no need to model all the chairs. Watch the sequence of chair modeling on the next video. Do the same exercise and then copy the modeled chair in amount which you need. The table and the bookshelf you have to create on your own, but the principles to create is the same for all polygon modeling. At this point, we finishing our today's lesson, and in the next practical lesson, we will study a new chapter with introducing the overlay window of material library and their properties, the principles of texture mapping and their adjustment. As we observed that to get a realistic picture on this stage, it is not enough. Scene should include lights and cameras. The objects in the scene should have own textures. But all this awaits us ahead, and today we learn the comments on edit geometry rollout, how to create scene of interior using polygonal modeling, and filling the interior with furniture. See you later.